Welcome to another episode of Beyond Cheers, the Detective Gomez Files. I'm your host, Detective Gomez. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank everybody for being a part of the show today. It's very, sometimes when I have guests on the show, it's very hard to talk about their situations and their stories, but we have a lady today that's going to tell us her story about how her engagement went wrong and totally surprised. And I think you'll find it very interesting. Okay, her name is Nina. We're going to add her to the show right now. Nina, how are you doing today?
I'm okay.
Yeah.
I'm really happy to be here. Hopefully my story will, you know, hopefully help somebody. That's what I'm hoping.
Okay, well let's get into your story. Engagements aren't easy because it's always tough to ask somebody to marry them. And as a female, when somebody asks you to marry them, you think, "Wow, this is a dream that every woman wants. They want that fairy tale
Mhm.
wedding. They want to walk down the aisle. They want to bring their family, friends, and show everybody what a wonderful husband they have." And obviously, that didn't quite happen for you, right?
No, no. And I mean, I'm still dealing with the repercussions,
Okay.
from my family and just, the money that was spent already. And it's hard, I mean, I'm I'm talking about it, but I'm not really thrilled still about the situation.
Okay. Well,
you
let's
know.
before we get into the details, let's talk about the beginning. I
Sure.
mean, according to our pre-interview, you and this guy dated for about 2.5 years.
Mhm.
Um, what kind of work do you do, Nina?
Me, I work as a restaurant manager.
Okay, and
Mhm.
in the great state of
New York City.
okay,
Where
New York
else?
City.
Yeah.
Okay, so did you meet this guy at the restaurant, or where'd you meet him at?
Yeah, actually, we were set up on a blind date from a
Okay,
very, very dear friend of mine. And, I trusted this friend because I'm like, they've known me for years. This is going to be like a great, maybe a possibility for a match.
okay,
And I thought it was. We had a lot of similar interests. Like, we got along. He had a real fun, bubbly personality. What I didn't realize is that his bubbles overflowed into other people's,
right,
bathtubs and stuff.
right.
But
So
initially, it was just a lot of fun.
now, you said when we talked about this previously, you
Mhm.
dated him for 2 years. And y'all decided to move in together. So y'all had been living together for like 6 months, so to speak, kind of a little bit. So
Mhm.
would you say dating somebody and living with somebody is like two different things?
Totally,
Okay.
totally. I almost think that you lose, like, the mystery of the person
Huh.
when you live with them,
Okay.
because then you're dealing I mean, you can look at it 2 ways, like, you're dealing with a person every day, you're seeing them brush their teeth, you're going through all the
Mhm.
motions, and maybe stuff you really don't wanna know,
Right, right.
gross
Just
things that they do or whatever,
it
and
might be snoring or whatever it might be, or leaving the towels on top of the bed,
leaving the
or
toilet
just
seat open, not flushing the
right.
toilet, doing the basic things. I mean, I do that because I
Mm,
just can't. I'm
mm,
Latina, we like to clean. I
right.
get in there with the floor, the water, and I scrub the
Mhm.
floors. But some people are not that clean. And so when you do live with somebody, it shows a lot,
Okay.
of their true personality.
Okay, so he asked you to marry him. How did he do that? Was it something special, kind of or something kind of personal and private? How did that come about?
It was cute. It was actually like a secret surprise
Mhm.
with the restaurant employees where I work. So it was really nice how he did it. And, he kind of used them as decoys, to kind of plan this whole thing and to have me not know. And so, I mean, that was really sweet, because
Okay,
he proposed right in the restaurant. Um,
nice.
yeah, I mean, it was a magical moment, I really thought I'm like, "Wow, I finally found my Prince Charming, he's gonna, like, sweep me off my feet." And, he turned to be like a frog.
Right. So what'd your family think? Well, your parents, what do they think about him?
They liked him. I mean, anybody that I feel like, because I dated one other guy that had a very similar personality, and I
Mhm,
do feel like some guys like, there's some guys that are birds, right? They mate for
mhm.
life. And then some guys are just dogs, and that's just how they operate. So, I thought I was with a bird, but really I was with a dog,
Right, right. I
you
like that.
know? It's
The
true, though.
Okay,
Mhm.
so you start to live together, things, it's obviously not the same as just dating somebody because when people date somebody, you just see the best of them.
Oh,
But like
yeah.
I said, when you're living with somebody, you get to see the other side of them. They might have some bad habits, maybe not throwing their clothes on the ground and picking their plate up, all kinds of things.
I know, not
So
washing the bowls and, like, right away. No, I know. And everybody has a different level of what they find acceptable too.
right,
Some people
right.
are okay with dishes piling in the sink. I can't even stand one dish in the sink.
Wow.
That's
Wow.
that's just me.
Okay, so the you start to plan for the wedding.
Mhm.
So you start to plan for it. I know you had
Yeah.
mentioned, like I said in our pre-interview, that he just wasn't interested in planning as much as you were. But kind of tell me about that process when you started planning and try to get his input, and he just
Yeah.
wasn't he was always busy or doing something.
I mean, initially he gave the impression that he was really excited,
Mhm.
about the process and stuff. But I think when he realized, that there was some actual planning involved, I think the initial excitement of the engagement started to wear on him a little bit because,
Okay.
there's a lot of details. There's the invitations, there's the venue, there's the flowers, there's the band, there's just all these different things. And I understood that. Like it didn't like I know like guys don't like dealing with that. That's like
Right.
asking a man to go to Sephora and have him help you pick out lipstick. Like
Yeah, right.
that's you don't
Yeah,
do that. So I gave him a space. I didn't try to like make him come to things or like say, babe, like, you have to help me. Like that's too much. Some guys, I guess, will like that if they're metrosexual, get involved. But most men don't really care,
right.
not really. They do and they don't. So I gave him a space and I thought everything was fine. I thought more than anything, I thought he just was feeling nervous about the process. Like maybe he was getting cold feet or something. But
Did did
I never could have imagined like that it would have turned out the way that it turned out at all. For
did you ever
sure.
get to a point, Nina, where you go, "Are you sure this is what you want? Are you sure? Because I'm doing all the planning here, and you're not really inputting a whole lot into it."
Not really, because I'm a very forgiving person. So
Mhm,
I was just like, well, because I asked him, I was like, babe, are you good? Like everything's fine. He goes, yeah. He says, I'm fine. I'm just busy with work. He never gave any kind of indication that he was unhappy.
mhm.
He was just distant with the process of planning the wedding. But to me, because I know how guys are, it didn't set off any weird things like, oh, like he's cheating on me or
Right,
something's going on. I'm just like, he just doesn't. That's like asking a man to go find the peanut butter too. There's certain
yeah,
things, women have certain qualities and men have certain qualities. So I'm
right.
like, it's fine. Like I didn't really mind that. But I guess I should have listened to I guess I should have listened to those cues
And
because
wha
I
and
guess
and
they
what
were clues. Mhm.
and what was your fiance's name? Just give us his first name. We don't wanna know his last name.
Sure. No, that's okay. His name was Evan. Mhm.
Evan. Okay, so Evan is, engaged, you're starting to plan the wedding. Obviously, you're happy, you're picking out your favorite color, your favorite flower, the
Yeah.
venue, and the DJ, all that stuff. I guess and then you're starting to put your invitation together, putting a list together. Um, and you said you didn't see his input as far as planning the wedding, but did you see any red flags that you thought maybe he just wasn't into you anymore or anything like that?
Not that he actually, you know what? It was weird. Um, he was actually more sexual then than he was before.
Okay.
But I've heard of, after this happened, I've heard of that before. Like a man, because of guilt, they'll
Mhm.
become then more sexual with their partner. The thing is, like I said, you're either with a bird or a dog. It's like one or the other. There's no in between. So they just like variety. That's the thing.
Oh,
And I think he realized that he's like, oh wow, like number one, I don't think he thought he was gonna get caught. I think he thought he could have me and then still kind of do his thing on the side.
okay.
And I don't really think that, I think he just needed more sexual partners. I think some guys are just like that. I really do. I dated one other guy like that, same kind of personality.
Really?
Super nice, talking to everybody, like Mr. Chatty all over the place because they need that. They're insecure. That's exactly what it is. Like, because if you have a secure man doesn't need, like multiple women. He's satisfied with one, but it
Right.
gives them like, so it gasses them up, so
Right.
that's kind of what I think happened, you know.
Okay. So let's get to the part where,
Yeah.
I know you mentioned like you were heading out of town in your pre-interview. So tell us about how you were heading out of town, what you're going out of town for, and what you came home to.
Yeah, that was crazy. That was a crazy day. I
Mhm,
wished I could forget that day. But
mhm,
I was heading out, and I was heading out actually to see a family member out of town because they were sick
mhm.
in the hospital.
Okay.
And so I was already like stressed because I was like trying to grab my stuff and I was kind of leaving in a rush. So they're out of the country. I leave the house and I'm like running out the door and I'm like, oh my God, I feel like, how when you say, like you think you have everything, but then you
Right.
really don't. And I get all the way to the airport and I don't have my passport.
And you go, damn.
And I'm like, shit, seriously? Like, I'm here now. I don't have the passport. So I immediately turned back around and, I'm going up the stairs. I didn't even like, I'm just in a rush, right? I'm just going through the
Right.
motions. And then I hear a noise and I'm like, is there porn playing like in the house? Like what the fuck?
Right.
I crack open the door and I literally like just froze. Like
Wow.
I went like this. I was like, is this really happening right now?
Wow.
And I open the door and I literally see the back of the crack of her ass riding his. Okay.
Ding ding dong. Okay.
Yeah. Ring a ding ding. And I'm like, what the fuck, you motherfucker? Like that was the first thing
Mhm.
I came to my mouth. She jumps off. She's like grabbing herself like this.
Right.
And I think I saw this girl too. Like I think she maybe worked with him. I don't know, something weird because I
Right.
remember her, but she grabs her stuff and she's like, "Who are you?" Like I don't know if he didn't tell her. I don't think she knew. I really don't. I think she was young and dumb and full of, I don't think she really knew what was going on.
Right.
And he was like, "Baby," like, like he didn't even know what to say. Like, I think he was just shocked that I was there, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
'Cause
I, I I can only imagine you see your fiance. I'm sure you heard the door slam, and all of a sudden, by the time it's
he
if he's
didn't hear me come in though.
right,
That's the funny thing because
he
again,
was still
when
in
you're coming in so
he was
fast,
still in motion. He was still in motion.
he was in motion. He was in motion. And I'm like, you know what? I was like, you're an asshole. Like,
Right.
thanks for fucking wasting my time, And he's like, I'm sorry. He didn't even try to get me back. And at that point, I'm like, you know what? Get your shit and get the fuck out of my place,
Right.
because he was in my place because he moved in with me. But and he did. He grabbed it. He did try to contact me later, and he's like, I'm sorry, like you think I was like, no, because if you're gonna do this now, before we even get, like, really, like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like,
Before you
seriously,
even get married, you're not even married yet.
I could even see like no, not saying that it's right at all, but I can see people cheating after being married for like
Yeah.
30, 40 years, or
Right.
maybe like they have a problem or whatever. But we haven't even got married yet, and now you're already like, having some random chick that I don't even know lick your lollipop. Like, give me a break.
Yeah.
So it sucks, it's just it hurts but I hate to say it, but you just have to get to know you have to get to know who you're dating. And I didn't. I'm stupid, really, really stupid. Naive.
How much money did you think you invested in your wedding? You
It
think?
wasn't me, it was my mom, she helped me out, and I would say we lost between everything and deposits, we lost about 10K, I would say.
Wow. And just
Yeah.
deposits and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Um. Wow. And what are your family's thoughts of him? Do you have any siblings or your parents? What do they think about him?
No, I don't have siblings, but no, my parents are like, "He is trash." Like, just they were just like, "Look, count your blessings. Like, thank
Right.
God you did, because if you would've Like, that's your house. Like, if you would have been with him for a certain length of time, like common law marriage, they were just telling me all this stuff. And I was like, and he could really mess up your life. Or the other thing is, like, I had to go run and get tested real quick because then I was scared.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God, like, if he's sleeping with all these random girls, like, I better get tested. Like, I didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he really put me not only he put my life in danger, like, because he didn't have a condom on with this girl.
Right.
And then also, in addition to that, he's putting my future in jeopardy that I worked so hard to establish. So I'm just taking the chill. I'm not trying to do nothing. No Tinder, no, like, none of those swiping left, swiping right. I'm just staying to myself right now.
Yeah, and sometimes that's the best way to be. Just love yourself first and put
Yes.
yourself back together. I mean, this happened like 2 or 3 weeks ago, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So it's still fresh, it's still fresh. I'm just glad he stopped calling though, because
Right.
that was like, I'm like, dude, just don't drag this out and know you're not getting the ring back. I'm
Right.
selling this so I can
Yes.
get some of the deposit money back so I can give it back to my family.
Right.
So that's what I told him. But he was, ugh. But he played the nice card, like, so to the T, though. If you
Right.
would have met this guy, you love him. He's one of those guys you meet, and instantly, like, he's making friends and he's doing that. I should have known. He's definitely a type.
And never suspected anything. Nina, this,
Mhm.
I'm sure, and I guess now if you hear one of your girlfriends say, "Hey, guess what, Nina? I'm getting engaged," you're gonna go, "Yeah, right." Wait,
No, I'm
don't
not
say.
like that. I'm not like that. But I mean, I wouldn't Debbie down somebody, but I'm just gonna be like this. I'm gonna be like, look, girl, just be careful.
Right.
Like, that's all. Like, I know you're happy and you're excited and all this stuff, but a man is still a man. And again, it goes back to there's different types of men, which we could do a whole we
Well,
could talk about that. But
I
it's really true because
might
some
might
men,
get you back for that later on.
yeah, because that's a totally different thing. But I just tell them, I'm like, just be careful because I don't, especially like some of my friends, I'm like, I don't want to see you get your heart broken like mine was because and it could have been worse. I mean, what if I would have been with this guy 5 years, 10 years? Then it would
Right.
have just culminated like, at least I found out in the beginning, instead of like after we already, walked down the aisle and I got a ring on it.
Yeah, and then you gotta hire an attorney and divorce him and get an
Um,
annulment. Um,
exactly.
there's women out here listening, there's guys out here listening also. What would
Mhm,
be your best advice, overall advice to give somebody should they get engaged or start living with somebody? Because I think the key thing here is y'all are living together, and he
mhm,
brought this person back to your home. He totally disrespected you. He cheated
totally.
on you. What kind of advice would you give somebody else that's listening right now?
Put cameras in the house.
Put cameras in the house.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
because, I hate to say that, like, I never would have said that in a million years, but
Hmm.
after what happened to me, like, how do you know?
Yeah.
How do you know and especially if you're somebody that travels all the time for work, I mean, you'd hope that they were honest with you, but it's not even the basis of that they're cheating. It's
Hmm.
just like, if you're just monogamously with that person and you're not cheating, you don't know what they're going to be bringing back
Right.
to you. That's the other thing. That's the
Yeah.
biggest problem that I have with it too.
Yeah.
But I would just say, check them out more, maybe test them a few times, and be a little bit more aware than I was. Because I think my head was like totally in the clouds with this one for sure.
Yeah. I mean, thank God you forgot your passport, right?
Yeah, seriously, I wouldn't have known. But
Yeah.
for him to bring her in the house, he
That's
was so
crazy.
cheap. He didn't even have the audacity to go to a hotel. I could have had more respect for him had he done that,
Yeah.
at least.
The yeah, because he brought her back to the hotel, got his quick fix, and probably
Mhm.
was just gonna tell the girl to leave and take off.
Yeah, he didn't care about her. He was just,
No.
he's on to the next.
Yeah.
Again, it's a certain he knows that I'm a type of woman like that I'm gonna take care of things and you know what I mean? And then he
Right.
can go gallivant around. I got his number. Now I know. But at the time I just thought, you know, he's just overly friendly. But no, he's looking to fill everybody's teacup.
Yeah,
Spilling the
it
tea
looks
on
like he
that.
was. And
Yes.
yeah, I'm very sorry you went through this. And like I said, I mean, how old are you now, Nina? If you don't mind me asking.
Wow. 29 young
You got you got
forever.
plenty, you got plenty of life left in you, and I'm sure there'll be some other guy that falls in love with you. And I think you'll be fine. But do your homework first, or you
Oh,
can
I
call me.
am.
I'll help you out if you need me to help you out. All right.
I appreciate I'll be calling you. I'll be like, "Can you investigate this?"
Uh, I'll take a trip to New York just to
Yes.
take care of you. All right.
I appreciate it. I
Well, Nina,
really do.
we want to thank you for being part of our podcast today, and thank you for sharing your story. I'm sure it's going to help somebody out.
Good.
Any last words before we let you go?
No, just thank you for having me, and thank you for spreading, you know, awareness with cheaters, because I think it helps a lot of people. So again, you know, my situation sucked, but at least I hope with my story I help at least one person.
Good deal. All right, Nina.
Mhm.
Thank you very much. We appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
And ladies and gentlemen, we want to thank our sponsor, Mr. Juan Hernandez with the Juan Hernandez Law Firm. You can contact him at 214-900-0000 or visit him at juanlaw.com. He's a personal injury attorney here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and he helped you with a car accident, slip and fall, 18-wheeler accident. Give him a call. He's helped me, and I know he can help you. And also, we want to thank our other sponsor, Victoria Nuave. She's a divorce attorney here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. She is the perfect attorney you need for a divorce. Child custody, civil disputes, contact her at 214-391-5555. She can help you. Trust me, she's very professional, and she will get you the answers that you need in your particular case. All right. Thanks for being part of Beyond Cheers Detective Gomez Files, and I'll see you next time. Take care.
This is Detective Gomez, everybody. He'll uncover everything that you're hiding. This is Detective Gomez, everybody. Watch out, he'll know if you're lying. This is Detective